as we begin taking questions. So if Jason and Quinn and myself we'll start collecting up questions, but I think we want to go right back to O's question so it doesn't get lost in the mix.
Sure. So Jim, that question came up a lot, right? And I can let Randy and the team speak to why the location is where it is, but I think the short answer to your question is there is absolutely a desire for family dining. We've heard it in surveys. I'll reference the surveys. I can tell you personally, absolutely. You know, there really is not a spot to come. Where are you going to bring your kids to watch a ball game on a Sunday?
I don't have a problem with no kids. I'm just asking
The
why you
location.
took the view away.
Yep, no, and that's fair. I can let, you know, the task force and.
So Jim, a couple of things just to keep in mind is that we've actually increased the amount of view dining by expanding the deck space out significantly, and also the lounge is going to be expanded, so there is significantly more tables at view areas. So keep that in mind. The other thing is that the positioning of the fine dining was for also to be able to use it for other things. In the surveys, fine dining was one of the least important. You know, it came through many times as not being as important as other things that were on the list. So we wanted not to get rid of it, but we also wanted to use it for other things, so we don't have this space that just has tablecloths on it that nobody uses, or occasionally somebody will use it. But so this gives us an opportunity to use it for other things than just dining. And also it's a nighttime experience. So I think this new fine dining area is going to be really cool, really neat space to have just a great meal. And also, I think it gives us more options to do things outside, on the deck, and also in the lounge.
So Randy, I'll start going through a couple of these. And Shem, I can hand you the mic. How many seats in the new fine dining area? We know a number?
30.
30.
Yeah, 30. The question was how many seats in the fine dining area. So we've gone from, I think it was 50,
I think there's 50 in the existing
the
dining.
existing fine dining, and we've pared it down to 30.
What considerations have been given for energy efficiency? I think beyond code, or have those considerations been?
So with the new plans, obviously everything's going to be updated to the current codes. The building is going to have to be more efficient than it was when it was built in 2000. So everything will be upgraded. I think in the long run, it should actually be more efficient by far.
We talked about golf and social activities during construction, and all members will pay the same. The cost does include the putting and chipping green renovation, correct?
Yeah, we have a contingency in there for that right now. Not sure what the number is. We're kind of waiting on the architect to get back to us with a design, but we do have some money in there for that part of it.
How many seats on the new deck versus old deck?
I think we're at, was it 50 on the new deck?
Yeah, new deck is 50 plus.
Yeah, 50 plus on the new deck versus, well, what do we have? 20, 24 on the old deck.
Here's one, Randy, replacement fund. The replacement fund will have to increase to cover the new assets. Is that correct?
I'm gonna leave that one for Jeremy. You got that one?
You want me to answer that? The beautiful thing about the asset equipment and replacement fund is if we build a new building, we have 25 years to build it up before we have to replace it. So we're hoping we don't have to change it. But we will do an asset study as part of this to make sure.
Randy, add to that.
We're actually required by the bylaws to do an asset study every 5 years. So we're coming up on that next asset study coming in 2027. Meaning we'll be doing the work in 2026, would be in conjunction with what we're doing.
Can you define clubhouse tent and what it does?
What is
Temporary
clubhouse?
temporary facility.
What is clubhouse? Probably can mean a lot of things, as a short answer.
Well, you're not doing dining.
So you're probably right. It's going to look something like a structured framed tent that has conditioned space. So air conditioned, a little heated in the summer or heated in the winter, probably bad in the summer. And then we're looking at how best to try to serve it. Be frank, we haven't gone extremely deep into it because we're really not there. But at this point, we suspect it's probably a food trailer. Maybe it's offset with bringing in other vendors as food options, especially for big events and tournaments, which we're kind of doing now at times because we get overwhelmed. And we'll take it from there.
So there's quite a few questions, there's a lot of questions, on bid practice, bid procedure. Randy or Jeremy, you want to talk about that? What do we do for the design firm, and then what is the plan? I think folks are getting confused by using Sherwin-L early for the estimate and what the plan is to bid the actual.
Yeah, so
project.
the construction part of it will be a competitive bid. Sherwin-L helped us out with basically contractor engineering costs based on our local environment. So Shem worked with Sherwin-L to come up, it was basically a paid fee for them to do that. They will be one of the general contractors. I think we have 5 right now that are pre-qualified to bid on this project. So it will be a competitive bid once we get documents, construction documents. It'll go out to bid, and at that point, the board of directors will review the bids and pick a contractor best and lowest number.
And just for clarity too, in terms of the conceptual design that DECA's done for us, we had 3 bids for that. The 3 contractors that bid that came in, did a presentation, and then the board ended up selecting DECA. So that was a competitive situation as well.
We need to speak up just a little bit. I'm having some trouble hearing in the back.
All right, let's see. If interest rates go down, can we refinance? Monthly assessment is for 25 years. Does this include a comfort station? I think the answer to that is no, that's not in the project.
It's not in the project, though.
Where's the golf shop going to be located?
Temporarily, we don't know yet.
No, I think permanently.
Oh, permanently, yeah, permanently in the same location. We're doing a renovation of the existing space. It's gonna remain in the same slot, though.
Any upgrades? Any upgrades to the pool area?
At this point, no, not in this plan.
Can the family dining be kept to overflow for fine dining?
Absolutely, yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, ultimately, the family dining is to allow, parents that have children to not go into fine dining and not be out on the deck when it's 110 degrees. So it's also gonna be, like a sports bar. It's basically gonna be used by anybody at any time. So it just gives our members that have kids a place to eat.
This is my favorite question. Will all these questions be collected and posted? Absolutely, or we're gonna be here a really, really, really long time.
Yeah, what we'll do is we will go through all these questions and answer all of them. We can do that, as many of them tonight as possible, but ultimately, every question will be read and submitted to the board of directors and the design team, so we can look at everything we have to say.
Will kids be allowed on the deck?
Yeah. Absolutely, kids will be allowed on the deck. There is a golfer's deck that we're trying to keep more towards the adult side, and it will be on the east side of the building. I don't think kids want to be out there when people are selling their scores, so, or you probably don't want your kids out there.
There's one on here about renting space, whether it be banquet rooms or the new fine dining for events. How's that going to compare to what we currently have now? What cost?
So I don't know that we have a great answer exactly how that's going to work out at this point, but I would tell you, as a process in the way the club runs, we're here for the members first. So we don't do anything that excludes members out of the space. So we won't be renting out the multi-purpose flex upscale dining, whatever the right term we came up with there, Shem, and be pushing members out. When we think of that as multi-flex space, at least the way I'm envisioning it, is that's where we would do registrations and tournaments. And in the morning, it could be one thing for the tournament. Later in the afternoon, it could be where the ladies play mahjong, which is currently, if you don't know, is the ladies' bathroom. And then it could turn into upscale dining for the evening. I think there's gonna be a number of opportunities in there, right? If we have that space right now, that's probably where we would put the buffet at the end of this meeting so that you would have a spot connected to the lounge in the casual area for food. But I think it gives us a lot of opportunities to have different experiences, but it'll be primarily based on members. We don't rent out the space at the exclusion of members.
There's a lot of questions, and Shem, maybe for you, or Kyle, maybe you can answer this. Acoustics for the lounge being, high ceiling being, are there things we can do to control the noise?
Thank you. Yeah, so we're making some preliminary concept ideas about the finishes and the way the acoustics will work. So we've programmed in some acoustical ceiling panels for that space. They're not the kind of tile you see in this room, but rather a nicer product. So there will be acoustical absorption in the space. We're very aware of some of these acoustical issues in these dining areas, so it shouldn't be a lively, really loud space. It'll have some acoustic dampening.
Just to clarify, total construction time?
Yeah, total construction time, the estimate is around 9 months. Doing this in one phase was the preferred option because it also saves us about $1.5 million to do it in one phase. There's an option to do it in 2 phases and leave part of the clubhouse open, but that was sort of shot down because of the budget. And so we're hoping to just kind of rip the Band-Aid off and get it done. It could take a little longer, it could take a little less, but that's the projected time frame right now.
The $2 million is included in the 13.9. There's a few questions about the $2
The
million.
$2 million is included in the 13.5, yes. So the $2 million is the contingency fund.
Is the new kitchen enough if we're adding so many new seats?
I don't know, is a chef in here somewhere? I think that our kitchen designer is working off of what our dining requirements are gonna be. Shem can answer that.
Yeah, thank you. So we went through a fairly extensive process working with the kitchen designer, working with Chef and Laura to analyze the deficiencies of the existing kitchen. And it's not just space in the kitchen that's too small, it's the way things are set up and the flows. And so we actually went through several options for a new kitchen layout. And we arrived at one that's not only larger, it operates more efficiently. So it's got separate flows for both member service and the banquet, and we went through quite an extensive conversation about how that service works. And I think Chef and Laura are pretty confident that they can use that kitchen to serve all the new spaces in the building. It's gonna have more cooking equipment, a bigger hotline, a larger walk-in. And I think Chef will actually be able to have his office in the kitchen, which is a big improvement. And so we're pretty confident that that kitchen is adequate to serve the need.
Randy, in that same vein, what about staffing? Is the new problem going to have require more staffing, more kitchen, more servers, more administrators?
Yeah, the answer is yes. There's more tables, so we'll need more servers, more kitchen staff. Jeremy and his staff will be ready to hire those people to. I think there's going to be, more than likely during the shutdown period, we may lose some staff members. We'll try to keep as many busy as possible, but I mean, that's just part of what's going to happen. But I think in the end, our food and beverages runs at a net zero, basically profit margin. So we'll be serving more meals and we'll have more staff. So it's probably going to wash in that respect. I'll let Jeremy add to that.
I don't think I have anything else really to add to that. We definitely want to keep as many of the seasoned staff, the ones you know by name, employed as possible. And there's a bunch of staff in the kitchen that you don't know by name, but are actually maybe slightly more critical, because they were. And from the standpoint of a new clubhouse, we certainly expect you to use it more, so we're expecting to have more staff on at the same time. If you look at our current facility, we have one bar well that serves every cocktail, whether it comes in here or goes to the deck or to go on the golf course. So we'll likely have 2 bartenders, which is something we need, or at least a bartender and a service well, so that we're a little more efficient. There's probably a ton of ways to slicing this. We're not quite there, but I think the short answer is yes. But we also expect the volume to increase at the same time, so we don't expect that to be a huge impact on the operations from a budget perspective. It certainly might though, and we're not shying away from it that it could.
I think I got 3 more, and then I think to try and wrap these all up. There's
Can I ask
one.
a quick question real quick?
Yep.
So you got really 4 different groups that are gonna pay for this. You got the membership, members, full golfing members, social waiting golf, non-residents, and social. What is your assumption for attrition, or is your assumption that they will
So-
just refill?
Sure. And I'll leave this to Jeremy, but I'll repeat the question. The question is 4 different types of membership paying for this. What is the thought, concern, strategy for if one membership goes down, one membership increases? How are we gonna handle that?
So in a nutshell, we have 770 memberships, right? 430, 335, and then there's a handful of non-residents. Actually, on top of that, there's another handful of honorary members and a few more they're excluded from it. In the project assumptions, we're assuming we're gonna lose 5%. That's 5% over the lifetime. So that puts us at 740 members. We have seen times, twice, I can really think of, where the membership has dipped down as low as 760, 755, somewhere in there, and we run membership drives to come right back up. So it is fairly conservative. It actually gives us, another way of building in contingency. And I don't know that will really come and be a huge impact on us.
There's one question about exercise room, that did not make the cut in the priorities. And I can tell you from the first phase that exercise room and horseshoe bar, if everybody remembers the horseshoe bar, those were 2 big areas of contention when those were proposed in the first one, so they didn't make it.
Blake, we're not talking about horseshoe bar.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to bring it up. Chef, outdoor dining, why is the entire area not covered?
So we wanted to provide at that deck a good blend of views out to the course, a feeling of spaciousness and daylight to the interior spaces, but then also provide a variety of covered, shaded, and covered from the rain areas. I think it's a large enough deck that if you cover the whole thing, it starts to feel a little cave-like, and that's something that we work really hard to avoid. We want to create a place that people want to be in all sorts of weather and all sorts of conditions. And so creating these different opportunities, I think, does that, even if it leaves a little bit of that seed.
But you couldn't have used it today. No one would sit out there today.
So there are some heavily shaded and sheltered areas. And I think one of the things that we've talked a little bit about with the task force, is there an opportunity in the shoulder season on a day like today to have some sort of a curtain that you pull around for a part of the deck that you could either cool it or in the colder seasons heat it? And so we are thinking about opportunities to maybe screen off part of that deck on really extreme weather conditions. So I think that is a possibility.
I would ask that you consider, I understand what you're saying, but because the sun comes down on that, and we have winters here, where if the whole thing was covered, and you had fans and shades, but then when it's a little cooler, or when it's hotter, people would use the deck even more. Not arguing for it, I'm just saying consider it.
No, that's a great comment, and I think right now we've got, let's say it's about a third open, a third covered with a hard cover, and a third covered with shading. And so getting the right balance of those those different types of deck and getting it working and fine-tuned exactly how we want it, that's kind of the next step in the design process.
All right, I got one more, and I'm gonna turn this mic off and get it to Randy and you. What happens if this does not pass?
Hand that one right in.
Yeah, okay, let's hear it.
Actually.
I think the challenge we have if we don't pass it is how do we maintain a 25-year-old building without increasing our AER fund? I mean, you're gonna see money come from someplace, because honestly, at some point in time, the windows and the doors are gonna fall off this thing, right? We're 25 years old. We are already starting to replace windows. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done around here. We're estimating at about $3.5 million worth of work that needs to be done if the facility stays exactly the same size it is today. So consider $3.5 million to stay the same, $13.5 million to have a bigger one. So it's really, really important to understand, this building, we can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who would have sat in the shade today at 103?
Hopefully nobody, yeah. Yeah, I think we'd have to have some coolers out there and to make it work. But yeah, I think that all the questions are very good, and I really appreciate everybody writing them down. We've still got a few to go through, but we're gonna stop that for now, let you guys get out of here. Is there anybody that has a question that they just need to have it answered tonight? Go ahead, right there.
Have any consideration been given to adding some kitchen facilities to the pool? Because it seems that when the pool is open, a lot of the service goes to the pool rather than to the other dining areas.
Yeah, and actually there has, I'm gonna have Jeremy answer that one.
The question is, I think it was Judy.
Yes.
Judy, tell me if I got it wrong. I believe the question was, have we looked at opportunities to add additional kitchen or some kind of service out there so it doesn't have to come out of the main clubhouse? So if you don't know, I'll come right to you. Randy will come right to you. If you don't know, you gotta be a track star to work at the pool, essentially. And if you're not, at the beginning of the season, you certainly will be by the end of it. Everything goes down those stairs and back and forth, and it's quite a haul, right? And we do a ton of service out at the pool. It's actually only continued to increase. Today, probably not the best example, although there were people at the pool under the shade today. With the bigger kitchen, we've taken that into account. There was not necessarily, some sort of arbitrary number that we looked at in trying to service or how we thought about increasing the kitchen to service the membership. Shem looked at our covers. Covers are every time you eat, we keep track of that and we have that count. And so we tried to take that into account. Will there be times that we get overwhelmed? Of course, if you all show up on the Greyhound bus, we'll get overwhelmed, much like the bar is about to get overwhelmed when you guys all walk in there. And that's gonna happen. But much like Horseshoe Bar, or what was the other one we weren't gonna talk about? Exercise rooms. The pool has not been a high priority for the membership, so we did not take that into account. I don't know that it would even be a high priority if we got the clubhouse done, because we'd probably be looking at most of the golf course projects at that point. So that's a long-winded answer to say no. But we have tried to account for what we will need in there. We will still be doing that same track star up and down the staircase, but we make it work. So, and that's the goal. We're not trying to build a Taj Mahal. We're not trying to build it for Easter Sunday every day. We want to have a facility that just services and fits your need. We'll have an elevator. Elevator would be too fast to track stars. Over here. Oh, sorry.
I was wondering, I saw a lot of emails talking about parking concerns. I didn't see anything in the presentation about how parking will change.
Where are those extra spots?
Where those extra spots are going to be.
Sure, no, it's a great question. We have gone through a process with the city of Richland to talk a little bit about what they're going to require for parking It looks like we'll probably need to add around 40 stalls, and our civil engineer, David Knutson, is working on that. We are adding stalls out of the cart building, which will go towards fulfilling that requirement. But there are other little areas around the parking lot that he sees where stalls can be added. So it'll probably be, add 5 here, add 6 there. It'll probably be an incremental improvement to get to the number of stalls we need. But there is space to add, and we will have to do it as part of the project.
Any other questions that anybody has?
Is the space based on how it, because our membership isn't changing, but it's based on square footage change then?
So the question was, what is the parking count based on? It's a great question. It's one we've spent a lot of time talking to the city about. We looked at the zoning code, which has changed since this clubhouse was built. The required parking ratios have changed. We made an interpretation that we presented to the city. They said, yeah, that's, we think we need a little more. And we spent a lot of time talking to them about exactly what the math was. And at the end of the day, they just gave us a number and they said, that's what we feel is fair for this project. So there wasn't a lot of science behind it. I don't think there was a lot of math and science behind it. It's been a little bit of a negotiation. But I think it's a lot better than it could be. I mean, when we do these projects and we do a significant expansion and renovation, a lot of times we're looking at adding 50, 100 parking stalls, and on constrained sites, that could be a real challenge. So fortunately, I think we've kind of got off easy a little bit so far.
Right here, Fred.
One last quick question. Because this is probably gonna draw more bodies in here, which is the goal, get more revenue, are you gonna consider, or will you consider allowing more golfing members to be because what better in the afternoon, nobody's out.
At this point in time, the question was, are we going to allow more golf members to join the club? And it's been brought up a number of times, but the answer is no right now, that it hasn't had enough traction. I think the membership in our peer group, the numbers that we have for members is sufficiently high, I should say. I think our golf membership doesn't necessarily want to increase it. It doesn't mean that down the road, 5 years from now, a new board of directors, or it might get traction. But right now, it's been brought up and it's been kind of shot down.
During the construction and the diminished kitchen and food staff, do you foresee any impact to any golfing events that we normally have during the season?
Jeremy, go ahead and answer that one. We talked about it.
So the question was, with limited facilities, what will be the impact to a golfer's normal life, especially from the tournament perspective? Yes, there's going to be quite a bit of change, I suspect, and we will have to figure out creative ways around them. The question you just asked is the question probably being asked in my office, in Jason's office, about every 3 or 4 days, and we will be glamping, right? The WSWGA had an offsite event where they went to Bookwalter for a dinner. Maybe that's an option for something that needs to be a little more upscale. Maybe we'll try to do more food on the golf course as opposed to in a clubhouse that doesn't exist, or maybe under a tent. So I suspect we'll try to make them really fun. We've also talked about internally with Laura, maybe we're gonna try to compete with Costco on the $1.50 hot dogs to try to encourage you to come out. And we've got a hot dog night where we're just trying to get everybody to come. Judy probably not loving hot dogs because they died in the dining room along with those, a couple times a week. But things that would be fun, things that would be unique, interesting, we'll have to come up with other opportunities. Jay, I don't know if you want to mention anything that we've talked
You're not
about.
looking at like canceling events that we do now?
No. I think the intent is to try to do as much as possible as we can. Don't hold me to it. I'm not saying that something wouldn't be changed, right? But I think they'll be just modified. The intent would be to modify them and try to get this the calendar and schedule so that it's what you're looking for, right? We don't think you're gonna wanna come here at 10 o'clock on Friday night unless we've got a bonfire. And like Gary said, maybe we're having a
We might do
mortgage
that.
party, so who knows?
All right, any other questions before, okay, go ahead, Lauren.
What's the intent on the staff here, like our main staff, like chefs, our main waiters, when they're gonna be parked for 9 months or, 10 months? We obviously wanna retain them. Are we gonna have some kind of limited food? Because like when we built this new place, I was here when we built the new place. We had the building over there, Laura served, hot dogs to us. That was pretty limited. Are we gonna have some more than that?
Is Laura in the room there? She is. Actually, with Laura and I, we served you hors d'oeuvres that were cut up hot dogs.
Cut up hot dogs.
They were about 4 or 5 hours old at that point.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of staff you know by name,
Yeah.
and we've spent a lot of time with them. They know the club, the expectations. We want to keep as many of them as possible employed. But the reality is, they still get to make a decision too. We actually started, and Laura's back there, we were gonna try to keep 8 staff, I believe, plus our executive chef, and keep them busy, and ultimately were unable to. Hopefully, we'll have a lot more here going on, so that we'll be able to keep them. The worst case scenario, I think, will be incentivizing them to come back, especially the ones you know. With COVID, we struggled to get kitchen staff. We cannot let the kitchen staff escape. And in fact, COVID, what I really mean is 2 and 3 years into it, we were struggling to get kitchen staff. I can't see if Chef's still in the back, but I'm sure he would agree. So we're gonna have to do everything we can to keep the people we have. What that actually looks like, it's not only our decision, it's their decision what they're gonna do too, so.
So we got one more question in the back. This is gonna be the last one for tonight. And then I just want to assure you that we will go through all these questions and post the answers, as many of them as we can. And, but we're gonna shut it down. So let's go ahead and.
Randy, before you get there, there is going to be a feature on our website for feedback. There is a feature on the clubhouse renovation for feedback. So if you funnel those in, we'll try and kick them back out as quickly as possible as well.
First, thank you for all the hard work. I know there's lots that's gone into this, but I had just a real simple question. I'm not a mathematician, but we have about a $10 million budget in there left. Estimates came in 24, 25. Inflation, is inflation of any flavor built into those cost estimates? So if it's a $10 million and we have between now and 28, is there, should we assume another 10%?
So the contractor and Shem had our schedule in mind when they were pricing this out. So we had that in consideration. So the pricing did include the schedule time. All right, so just want to say, we hope we gave you enough information to vote, and hopefully it's a positive vote. The board of directors and myself, we all appreciate you being here, and we hope that you vote positive in this. Thank you.